What's happening, everybody? It's your boy Meatstick89, and I'm back at it with another recording. Wanted to get this recording out there and get it out there quick because first off, as you can see, I am at my grind spot, so I want to get some stardust and hatch some eggs. But secondly, I haven't seen a lot of coverage on YouTube or even on Google, nothing like that, covering what's to happen for July's Community Day and how it's going to change and affect all of our accounts from here on out. And there's no surprise, I'm not going to BS you guys. Mudkip is July's Community Day Pokemon. Mudkip evolves into Marshtomp. Marshtomp in turn goes to Swampurt. And it's going to happen on July 21st. It is a Sunday, so mark your calendars, right? Because it's a weird, funky situation. It's happening on Sunday. And then definitely set some alarms because it's a weird time as well. It's from 4 to 7 p.m. your local time. Definitely an interesting switch on the way that CD days have played out for us. But nonetheless, I'm still excited and I'm going to be doing it. And I want to talk about in this recording just how valuable Swampurt will be from here on out. And it's no surprise, Niantic is a basic company. You know, Niantic is the company that created Pokemon Go. They're a basic company. So here's what we can assume, and it's more than likely going to happen. I'm not a data miner. I'm not a genius. I'm just realistically following the pattern that Niantic is putting in place for us. And Mudkip is a starter Pokemon. It is a water type Pokemon too. And so here's what we do know. We know that all of the Community Day Pokemon that were in the starter types, they all got the same move. You know, Venusaur with Frenzy Plant, Meganium with Frenzy Plant, Sceptile with Frenzy Plant, Charizard with Blast Burn, Typhlosion with Blast Burn, and then Blaziken with Blast Burn, with the addition that it can learn Blaze Kick. And that is why I think people are kind of a little surprised, a little confused on how to cover Swampurt as far as the Community Day goes. And that's why I'm just putting together this video. It's going to be real simple, cut and dry. And so as we know, right, Swampurt evolves from Marshtomp, Marshtomp from Mudkip. Water type Pokemon, it is a starter. And being that it's a starter, being that it's a water type, Blastoise learned Hydro Canon, Feraligatr learned Hydro Canon, Swampurt's going to learn Hydro Canon as well. But it could have the possibility where we actually have a new forever move, and that could be Muddy Water. It has been in the game data for over 6 months now, so, you know, realistically, it's not that far of a stretch. I'm almost 100% certain that Muddy Water isn't the Community Day move, and if that was going to be the case, then Sceptile would have learned something other than Frenzy Plant, and Blaziken would have learned Blaze Kick instead of Blast Burn, right? So let's just follow the wheel and let's just take it slow and roll with it, right? It's Niantic, it's a basic company. So for those of you guys who don't know much about Mudkip, Marshtomp, and Swampurt, Mudkip is kind of tricky to catch. You're going to want those bigger catching devices like berries. I would come prepared with a lot of pineapple berries and a lot of great balls and ultra balls to boot. Simply because Mudkip doesn't go down without a fight. You're going to need something bigger than a Pokeball to pull it in. And, you know, you're going to want those pineapples because you're definitely going to want the candies for this. You don't want to be sitting unprepared. And if you have, you know, maybe you have a couple of good Mudkips or Marshtomps, but you don't have a team of 6, what you can do is do some mirror trades with somebody who has Mudkip and Marshtomp in return. You know, just keep trading them off. You know, it's a good way to farm easy candy. And at the same time, it's a good way to open up the opportunity of a lucky Pokemon, which has Stardust and it's a better IV reroll. Or you could just trade it and actually get better IVs without it being lucky. You know, it's just the way that the trade mechanics work. But I'm getting carried away on that. Let's get down to the business end. Swampurt. Let me pull mine up here for you guys, so that way you can get a better understanding. I do have 4 that I have evolved, and that was because it was before Community Days. What are you gonna do? This one's a 98%. You know, I purchased a secondary charge move because buying a secondary charge move for a starter Pokemon, it's only 10,000 Stardust and 25 candies. Realistically, you can hatch 2 5K eggs. There's the Stardust, and you could walk this thing for a little bit and, you know, gain those candies pretty quick, right? It's very cheap. And I do want to say that 100% IV, I mean, it's the 4th of July weekend. We got some noise, guys. I'm sorry. But, you know, at 100% IV, completely maxed out level 40, 100% IV Swampurt maxes out at 2974 CP. It's a very, very good CP. I know it's not at that 3000 CP barrier, but don't worry too much on that because some of the game's most valuable Pokemon don't even hit 3000 CP. Or maybe they're just there, like Machamp maxes out at 3056, Gengar maxes out at 2860. I mean, what's that tell you? So don't worry too much about overall CP, right? And the base attack stat on Swampurt is 208, which is fairly decent. It's got a 175 defensive stat, which is not that bad. There's definitely better out there, but it's just not that bad. And its stamina stat is 225. Guys, that's crazy, right? It's currently tied, I should say tied, for 39th best stamina in the game because Tyranitar and Swampert have identical stamina stats. But they give the 39th place to Tyranitar because it's a little bit meta relevant. And Swampert is the 40th highest stamina stat. So overall, it's the 51st best you know, Pokemon in the game as far as overall stats go. So it's not bad, right? But we're just beginning because we haven't covered the moves yet. So Swampert, you know, it's a pretty important Pokemon. It's water and ground type, guys. And for those of you guys who don't know much about it, Swampert has but one weakness. It is 4 times weak to this one weakness. So it's 4 times weak to grass. That's all it has for weaknesses. But it actually resists quite a bit. Let these cars go by. So for the resistances, it resists electric. Does it get better than that? Nah, it does though, it does. So it resists electric type attacks, it resists rock type attacks, it's resisting ground type attacks, it is resisting fire type attacks, it's resisting steel type attacks, and it is resisting poison type attacks. And every other typing that I didn't mention, it is neutral damage to Swampert. That is huge, y'all. It's huge, right? So out of all the starter Pokemon, you know, the pre-evolved and evolved forms in the entire Pokemon series, Swampert has the least amount of weaknesses and it has the highest amount of resistances if we're talking based on starter Pokemon. So guys, it's a pretty spicy Pokemon. It's really meta relevant and it's about to get even better. So let's just continue. You know, Niantic is gonna give Swampurt Hydro Canon. I'm gonna be absolutely baffled if it's not Hydro Canon. Maybe they give it Earth Power. I don't know. I'm just saying, I believe it's Hydro Canon and it's safe to assume it's gonna be Hydro Canon. And what's gonna happen with Swampurt is not the top 4 best water types in the game right now with its current moveset, but once it gets Hydro Canon, forget it. It's gonna be the 2nd best water type attacking Pokemon in the game, situationally being the 1st best. That's correct, guys. Yes, it's gonna be situationally the 1st best. And the reason being that it will be, and I know y'all are saying, well, Feraligatr is not the situational 1st or 2nd best or this and that. Correct, Feraligatr has the worst of the fast moves, so it doesn't learn Water Gun, it learns Waterfall. Swampert learns Water Gun, which is 3 times faster than Waterfall. So realistically, when it comes down to it, the way you can look at it is for every 3 Water Guns you're dishing off 1 Waterfall. It takes you about 13 seconds with the Waterfall fast move to build up 2 Hydro Canon charge bars. With water gun, every 9 seconds, you have built up 2 complete bars for Hydro Canon. So you could fire off in 15 seconds enough water gun damage to 1, beat down whatever you're attacking, but 2, bang out 2 Hydro Cannons at the same. So 15 seconds, you're doing a lot of damage. Whereas the DPS, the damage per second, Kyogre has, I believe it was like a 16.4 something damage per second. Hydro Canon Swampurt is 16.1 something. Now the TDO, the total damage output, will always go to Kyogre. It is a defensive attack Pokemon. It's the best water Pokemon in all of Pokemon. But Swampurt has, you know, a little bit less of a TDO. You know, it's like I think a 200-point deficit. But as far as a TDO output goes, it's definitely going to have higher TDO over any other water type in the game currently because of the resistances. So that's important to understand those resistances and why it will be situationally the first best. So as an example, if you're battling Heatran in a raid over Garchomp, over Groudon, over Rhyperior, Swampert has the least amount of feints against every moveset that Heatran could have. So just take a look at that, you know, that's really important to know. Swampert lives longer than just about every other meta-relevant counter out there, and it's because of its typing. It's because of that nice stamina stat and that okay defense stat. Those resistances play a huge value in the game right now. And if you are raiding, let's say if we were raiding Groudon with Mudshot and Earthquake, well, Swampert will have probably half of the amount of feints as Kyogre, and it's most likely going to have a faster time to win because it's not dying. If you're not fainting out a lot, you will be able to dish off more damage. So the more times you faint, the grand scheme of the damage, you know, the greater value of damage goes down if you continuously faint out. But with Swampert, it's going to hang in that fight. So you're going to get off that extra Hydro Cannon, and that is where that overall damage and that better time to win will come into a factor. So I could bore you guys with the numbers, I really could, because I love talking about Pokemon. I love talking about raids and statistics and numbers and stuff like that, but I'm not trying to bore you guys, but I'm trying to prepare you guys out there. So here's what we do know. We're going to use 100% as the whole pie, so that's the whole pie, against raid bosses or Pokemon in gyms, however you want to look at it, against other Pokemon that are weak to water typing. Most of that pie, so about 60 to 70% of the time, Swampert with Hydro Cannon will be the #1 counter. And Niantic's not afraid to do this because they need to build a value in a primal version of Kyogre. So this is therefore going to pump up the value of primals. So it's definitely not far out of reach to really wrap our heads around the fact that Hydro Cannon and Water Gun Swampert will be situationally the first best water type attacker in the game. You know, so to kind of close things out on a good note, without stressing you guys out about numbers and stuff like that, here's what we do know. Kyogre requires rare candy to max them out. I'm gonna pull up my water types for you guys right now. You know, trust me, I have invested a lot of money, because raid passes are $1 a piece, or 2 days in a gym. So I have 6 maxed out Kyogres, and that's a lot of rare candies invested into them. I don't regret them. But I'm looking forward to a new Pokemon that is a budget Pokemon, something that is affordable as far as game resources go. And that is going to be our Swamperts, guys. You know, it's a starter Pokemon. It's non-legendary. You do not need rare candies to make yourself a team of 6 of these, or even 4, 3. So 4 would be the least that I would do. I would really shoot for a full team of 6, especially if you do not have the resources to make a team of 6 Kyogres. Water typing is incredibly valuable in the meta. You know, water's good against like Moltres, Regirock, Groudon, you know, Entei, which is coming up soon. All these Pokemon, right? You know, it's good against all of these different types of Pokemon. So water typing is very valuable. And it's gonna always be valuable, the way that Niantic rolls out raid bosses. So with Swampert, you can catch Mudkip every day. So if you're stressing about having enough candies to evolve 6, go out, hit a nest, or hatch some eggs. Woo. Vacation towns, baby. So you're gonna wanna hit a nest or hatch some 5K eggs. If they put Mudkip or Marshtomp in as a raid boss before the CD day, absolutely hit those. Absolutely, especially if it's raining and weather for the game. You can trade, mirror trade, meaning if you know somebody who's willing to trade Mudkips and Marshtomps for your Mudkips and Marshtomps, trade them away. Every time you make a trade, you get a certain amount of candies based on distances. And if it's a good one, keep it. If it's a bad one, throw it away. That's another candy. You could also get a lucky, so it's half the Stardust. There's a lot of ways you can find these candies, guys. But my rule of thumb when it comes to community days is evolve now and gain candies later. Because we might not get this move ever again, right? It might not be like last year where we were able to have all the CD day Pokemon at, you know, in December. That might not happen. So better be prepared now. Go with a lot of Pineaps, Ultra Balls, and Great Balls. Make sure you're prepared and yeah, use them, absolutely. It is going to be everybody's second best, situationally first best water type Pokemon up to the current date. So it doesn't matter how strong of an account you have or how little of an account you have. Wow, a mosquito just flew in my mouth. Drown it with some Red Bull, right? But yeah, so nonetheless, doesn't matter if you're 10 times level 40 or you're a level 20. Hydro Canon Swampurt is, at worst case scenario, going to be the second best water type attacking Pokemon in the game. And in a time to win standpoint, about 20-25 seconds behind Kyogre. Best case scenario, it's going to be better than Kyogre in a time to win scenario. So this is a great community day to capitalize on. Like I said, the water typing is going to be meta relevant. You know, it's going to hold a lot of value in the future. And here's why it's definitely future proof. Empoleon, everybody is so quick to believe that Empoleon with Hydro Canon is going to be better than Swampert with Hydro Canon. So if we're just looking at a neutral DPS standpoint, absolutely, Empoleon will have a slightly higher neutral DPS over Swampert if they both had Hydro Canon. But if you're talking about water type DPS, Hydro Canon Swampurt blows Hydro Canon Empoleon out of the water because Hydro Canon learns Metal Claw and Waterfall for fast moves. So yeah, it's future proof, guys. It's going to be the best water starter that we have so far. I don't believe anything in Gen 5 will come out and make it unvaluable, right? You know, I don't think Gen 5 has Pokemon that would rival a Hydro Canon Swampert. And even if they did, it mega evolves. So realistically, Swampert is going to be a very future-proof, meta-relevant Pokemon. The shiny is gorgeous, by the way. You know, where you see the blue on Swampert right now, it turns to this like weird purple lavender color. It's gorgeous. It's going to be one of my favorite shinies in the game. But yeah, just remember, with Hydro Canon, it will, worst case scenario, be the second best water type Pokemon in the game. Best case scenario, it's going to bounce off situationally as first best. Sure, maybe there might be a few more deaths in certain situations, but in time to win, it will have faster times than Kyogre. And if Niantic throws Mega Evolutions at us, don't worry, it's only going to be better for these Hydro Canon Swamperts because it Mega Evolves. But with that being said, I don't want to kill y'all's time. This is a lengthy video, I know, I'm sorry. It's just, this is such a good community day Pokemon, and I could sit here and talk till I'm blue in the face about why you should capitalize on it. All I'm saying is, me personally, I am going to evolve and completely max out 6 Hydro Canon Swamperts. All 6 of those Swamperts, I'll purchase a secondary charge move for them as well. So that's how serious this community day is going to be, guys. There's no joking about this. And you got to remember that it is a lot more affordable than Kyogre. Kyogre requires rare candy. When you walk a Kyogre, every 20 kilometers walked gets you 1 candy. Every 3 kilometers walked with a Mudkip, Marshtomp, or Swampert gives you a candy. So, you know, I gotta go grind. I would recommend you guys getting out there and start spinning these stops and stuff like that. You're gonna need Ultra Balls, Great Balls, and Pineapples. It is a difficult one to catch. And if you're very short on candies and you come across a shiny, throw a silver pineapple at it. You know, think about it. High catch rate, almost as strong as a golden raspberry. I've yet to have a Pokemon flee with a silver pineapple, but you get double candy. So yeah, with that being said, guys, get prepared to have the most affordable, situationally, the #1 water type attacking Pokemon in the game currently. And don't sweat it. It does Mega Evolve. So with that being said, thank you for tuning in. I hope you guys the best. I wish y'all the best. May the shiny gods be with us. And on that note, stay tuned for another one. Later.